Welcome to Mainland, your local regional television station. I'm Graham O'Brien, and some of the stories coming up in today's news. Public flock to see Navy ship in port, Brightwater turns it on for festival, Nelson's first NRL match kicks off, and more. Nelson played host to the first NRL match in the region on Saturday to a crowd of over 9,000 at Trafalgar Park. The big turnout of enthusiastic fans for the Vodafone Warriors and St George Illawarra Dragons match certainly kept everyone entertained, with booing from the visiting Aussies through to Mexican waves in the stands. The Vodafone Warriors didn't seem to fire it up in the pre-season match and appeared to be on the back foot from the beginning. They left the field disappointed with their performance, and in contrast, St George were fired up on all cylinders, with the team fielding many Kiwis and winning the game in a slaughtering victory of 46 points to the Warriors' 10. The match certainly proved to be a disappointing one for Motueka's Simon Mannering, who took to the field to play his last game as captain for the Vodafone Warriors. We caught some of the press conference after the game.
I've had the pleasure of playing with Simon for a long time, and I don't think you'll find anyone in New Zealand or in the world that'll say a bad word about him. He's a great leader, one of New Zealand's greatest players, and a great friend of mine.
The question I've been asked here is, do you think the Dragons would ever take a game to your hometown, Whakatane?
Geez, I wish. They would love it there. Whakatane, has probably been crying out for a league game for a long time, so if that would happen, that would be great. And, got everything here. The water, the sun, we had a bit of rain, but we've really enjoyed the week.
And much has been said of the Warriors signings this year. Were you surprised that they kind of failed to fire a little bit today?
Oh, it's early, mate. It's a trial game. It's not round one, so I think given a bit of time, it's always going to take time when you put a new spine together, and you only have to look at the quality of the player that they are, and Isaac and Roger, and trust me, they'll step up.
Exactly 5 years to the day, the Christchurch earthquake struck, leaving 100 dead and thousands traumatised and grieving for the loss of their beautiful city. The Nelson-Tasman region has since become a new home for many Christchurch refugees. We asked people in the street where they were on the day of the devastating quake.
Yeah, I was working as the front of the house manager at the Boatshed Cafe. Yeah. Seems a little, it's amazing to think that it was 5 years ago already.
I was in Nelson here, yeah.
And have you got any family or any friends in Christchurch?
Yeah, I've got two sisters and a brother down there. I went down at Christmas to see them actually.
Yeah. And what did you think of Christchurch now?
Oh, the roads are still pretty bumpy to drive on. I don't like driving on the roads.
I was in Blenheim, and my dad lived down on Avonside Drive, so his house got split in two, and the liquefaction came up through the floors, and he basically had to leave Christchurch and move to Dunedin. So it took us about 4.5 hours to get hold of him by phone, because the phones were all jammed up, and we were really, really worried, but we were just really glad he was alive.
Having a coffee at the Rutherford, and I drove home, and my mate took me home, and I looked online, and I got a hell of a shock about the earthquake about 1:30 in the afternoon, and then I went on TV and I thought, oh my God, this is the biggest natural disaster in New Zealand history.
I just arrived back in Nelson actually from 17 years in Wellington, and it was a bit of a shock, even though earthquake here in Nelson, but when we found out that so many people had died, it was terrible. But I don't have any family in Christchurch, thank goodness, but I still feel for the people. I think it's dreadful.
I had an uncle that lived in Christchurch, and he wasn't affected, but I think it affected the heart of New Zealand, to be honest. Yeah, because of the cathedral and the disaster that happened. Yeah.
And there were protests in Christchurch yesterday of 5,000 people saying that they still haven't got any settlement from the earthquake. How do you feel about that?
Oh, it seems shameful. 5 years on, it's obviously not enough money thrown from the national government to help people get their lives back in order, and especially I think recently with the cuts to mental health funding. It's taken way too long.
Well, I reckon the government should buck their ideas up and sort it out, because it's been going on for ages and it's not going to stop. They're going to have to do something about it.
Yeah, I think that's really awful because it's been such a long time, and I think, you know, there's been a lot of people who have had to put up with hardship. It's all right for those ones with money, they've gone and bought houses elsewhere while they wait for their settlement, but the ones that have been renting or that haven't got the money to move or have another place, they're a real disadvantage.
I feel it's appalling by this government. Jerry Brownlee is something I wouldn't want to repeat, but he doesn't listen to the people because it doesn't affect his electorate of Ireland. It's more or less about a Labour electorate like Christchurch East, and those areas have been hard hit, but because it's not part of the National Party's territory, they just don't care because they're not getting votes out of that area anyway, of Christchurch.
Yeah, that's a good comment.
And they think that John Key's spin will tell you that they're going to doing something about it, but they're not really doing anything about it. Hitler always said the bigger the lie, the more people believe it, and that's how John Key works, full stop.
I think it's dreadful. The whole thing, like some people have been treated quite well, but others have just been, there's no way that people should not have a settlement 5 years on. It's criminal actually. It really is criminal.
HMNZS Otago was in port over the weekend for the 75th commemoration of the single greatest loss for the New Zealand Navy with the sinking of the HMS Neptune, which had 150 New Zealand crew, including 5 Nelson men aboard, with all but one soul lost. The ship had been in transit heading for New Zealand to become part of our New Zealand Navy when it hit a minefield in the Mediterranean in 1941. The Otago played host to a public open day on Saturday, with nearly 2,000 people taking the opportunity to look at the ship on its first visit to our port. We sent Ethan down to talk to the ship's captain, Lieutenant Commander Andrew Sorensen.
Lieutenant Commander Sorensen, you guys have just arrived in Nelson from the Auckland Islands and Fiordland. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing in Nelson?
So this port visit into Nelson this weekend and through to Wednesday is part of the Navy's 75th anniversary and celebrating and recognising the sinking of the Neptune. So it's called Operation Neptune this year and part of a bunch of events going on around New Zealand.
Cool. And so I understand you guys are participating in a memorial. Can you tell us a bit about that? What's happening with that?
There's a memorial service tomorrow just by the Nelson Yacht Club. There's actually a memorial for Neptune that was erected 15 years ago, which recognises the loss of 4 men from Nelson that were on board.
The opposition Labour Party is hosting its Health and Wellbeing caucus in the region on Tuesday. Chrissy Small caught up with Labour MP for Tasman, Damien O'Connor, about the visit and the government's funding cuts to the district health boards, including Nelson Marlborough District Health Board, which operated with a deficit of over $2 million in the last financial year.
Now we've got the Labour Health Caucus coming to town next week. They must be have their own opinions on these issues themselves, and we'll be looking at what's going on within the communities.
Look, they are. It's a good opportunity for us to get out around the regions. We're doing this on a regular basis all through the country. So the committee will split. There'll be half go to the southern part of the electorate, the other half to the top, listening to people, looking at facilities like Golden Bay Integrated Family Health Centre, going to Jack Ingles Hospital there, having a look at things that are happening and how we can improve it through better policy. And I know I was just there this morning at Jack Ingles talking with residents there, and they were asking questions around health funding for elderly care, and it is being squeezed, and we've got to change that.
Well, we've interviewed a chap who's been on the elective surgery list for his knee. He was classified as urgent 3 or 4 years ago, and he's just been knocked off for the second time. He doesn't expect to get surgery. He's worked all his life, had 3 weeks off sick, and there must be a few stories like him.
Well, there is, and knee surgery is quite complex, and so what the government's done to manipulate the figures is done a whole lot of easy elective surgery operations and counted them up and left the people with more complex ones like knees on the sideline. Very, very unfair. And as the Salvation Army report released this week says, in summary, the government's manipulating statistics for its own purposes, and actually we don't know really what's going on underneath the surface. And I think that's the major concern, that when New Zealanders start to distrust what they're told from central government, then we're in real danger, and that's exactly what's occurring at the moment.
Right. That's quite a statement from one of our most respected charitable organisations, isn't it?
It is, and Salvation Army, in the end, they pick up all the pieces that government agencies, that society kind of let fall by the wayside. And I have huge respect for them and for their report. And the most significant thing for me in that report, without pulling all the stats apart, is that the statistics have been manipulated for the government's purposes. And we've got to front up with what challenges we face and get on and do the best we can. We understand the government's priorities are not right, but at least if we know what the challenges are, then we can have a healthy debate around reprioritising spending.
The organisation English Language Partners is there to help new refugees and immigrants assimilate into a new country and culture, and the use of home tutors are an essential part of this process. I spoke to Paul from the Nelson branch of the organisation about his experiences as a home tutor. Paul, English Language Partners have got their tutor training coming up for the new refugees and immigrants. You've done the training. Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in the classroom and once you've got a learner to teach?
I did the last course last September, and then I was away for a couple of months, so I didn't start doing the actual training till December. The course itself was very useful. It was very good. And useful to meet other people that were doing the same thing. I thought they covered the subject very well, but I have to say underlying the whole thing for most of us was this nervousness about what's it going to be really like when you get out there and have to do it. They have a very good resource library of things you can look at to use, but there was still that uncertainty about how that was going to work. When I came back and started the tutoring, I read some of the notes again, which was useful, sort of brought it all back. And I guess the first couple of sessions were a little bit nerve-wracking. You're not quite sure what to do or how to do it. But it's surprising how quick you get into the run of it and start realising what you need to do. And it was useful that there were 2 or 3 others in the class with pupils at the same level as me, and so I could ring them up and we compared notes and saw what was working and what wasn't. So that was very good, and we've done that more than a few times.
Yeah, and when you talk about your learners level, how about your level? You having conversations, or what kind of level are you talking about here?
No, this was a very basic level, which I hadn't quite expected. So his literacy level is basically 0. So therefore you can't even have a chat when you get in there to start with, because he has no English skills at all. So it was a matter of working around that. For instance, that meant that a session went quite quickly. And you suddenly realised, gee, I've half an hour and I've just about used up all my resource. Or that you would start doing something and you could see that after half an hour he's looking at the clock and he's getting bored. So I think what I found was you just had to go away after a session and think through what was going to work for him. I think the overarching objective which they brought out at the course, which is really useful, is the fact you're trying to give them independence rather than speaking English per se. So that's it gives you a bit of a steer when you're trying to think about what am I going to teach them.
I mean, you want to understand what's going on around you. You have to understand what's going on around you before you can start speaking anyway.
Well, exactly, and it also gives you the opportunity to vary it a bit. So one week we went through a dozen different vegetables, reading, writing, listening, speaking, and then the next week we went down to the supermarket with a shopping list, and so he had to try and remember which ones were which, read labels, look at prices, and that sort of thing. So you can mix it and vary it quite a bit, and once you've done a few, you certainly get into the gist of it pretty quick, and that seemed to be the experience of the others on the course. 1 or 2 of them said at the end of the course they were a bit nervous about how this was going to go, but they said after the first 1 or 2 they felt quite comfortable with it.
And lots of people volunteer to do this course. There's lots of tutors out there. How about for yourself? What makes you give up your time? Give up? You have to do a lot of study yourself, preparation. Why do you do it?
Well, I'd always done some sort of community service, but it had mainly been in governance. And really I got to the stage where I really wanted to do something that was a bit more direct. And I had tried to learn a second language myself, found how difficult it was. and that gave me a whole interest in how you learn a language, and that sort of correlated with this course. I thought that's good. I can apply some of those things to this.
Yeah, no, that's true. And how do you find you learn it? Is that they're quick to pick up the language? I mean, they're totally immersed in it here. Obviously, they want to get ahead. They want to learn. You have no troubles with trying to get people to get them to study?
I'm not sure to what extent he has a study ethic with his sort of background. His children are at school, so they're picking up English very quickly. So that helps. That's starting to influence him.
Sure. And I mean, people don't understand, some of these people have never been to school, they've never written, they've never read anything, so we're not just teaching them a new language per se, we're teaching them a whole new ethic of how to study.
Exactly, yes, and that takes a bit of time, and you realise there's things like he probably doesn't know how to read a map, or I had diagrams on a page, arrows from one side to the other, and I thought maybe he doesn't know how to read the arrows as well. So there's those sorts of things you have to figure out as you go along.
But hey, Paul, thanks very much for your time, and good luck for you and your learner.
Thank you.
Cheers. If you would like to find out more about the upcoming home tutor course starting on the 1st of March, please contact English Language Partners. The sun shone, the wind blew a bit, and the people turned out in droves to enjoy the best of the region's wine and food on Sunday at the Brightwater Wine and Food Festival. The Richmond Rotary Run charity fundraiser event had nearly 3,000 people of all ages trying out the many local and international foods and regions wines the festival had to offer. Chrissy Small was there and caught up with Rotary spokesperson Peter Glue to find out about Rotary and the festival, and also managed to speak to some of the busy stall holders there.
Pete, it sounds like you're coordinating everything. Everything's going smoothly. What a gorgeous day for the Brightwater Wine and Food Festival.
Well, look, we always hold it on the third Sunday of February, and it's amazing that I don't think we've had one wet day, one really bad day. Last year we had a windy day, and it was amazing because one of the sun umbrellas took off, went up about 150 feet in the air, turned upside down, and then just slowly wafted its way back down. So when you get a day like this, we won't be changing the date. Third Sunday of every February from now on, of course.
And of course, it's much more affordable. You've brought it down back to a level which brings in the families.
That was one of the silly things we did. A few of the old guys, we got a little bit tired of it. Time to sort of let somebody else have a go. But the ticket price went up to $50 when you hand it over to the professionals. Whereas by doing this now with us, we keep it at $15 a head for pre-sales, $20 on the day. People have got plenty of money to still spend on the stalls, and that's what they're doing.
Now, look, I see your lineup this year. It's all locals.
Yeah, look, all the food stalls and all the wineries are locals, the breweries are locals, the acts are locals. The money goes back to the locals with the helicopter rescue, Coast Guard, the Brightwater School, Wanderers Rugby Club, Rural Fire, Richmond Fire Brigade, St John's. So all the money goes back to the school, to the locals, and we've put in about over $300,000 up to the state, going back to the local community.
That's amazing. Look, what's your membership like?
Well, our membership, we're at about 45. We're a pretty old club, but the old guys are really good workers. Now, they love getting into this sort of an event, and we also get wanderers to help us these days. So wanderers come in and do the hard work of putting up the tents, shifting the rubbish tins, stacking the bales, and do an excellent job on that.
Yeah. And of course, the setting. What more could you ask? A beautiful winery.
Yeah, well, Middle Earth Winery, why the heck they actually leave this space available for us. The car parking area out there, which is pretty massive, it's just incredible. We're so lucky. Rob Gray is so good to us. And today we've got, about over 50 camper vans out there. And next year we could be looking at anything up to 400 camper vans. And we allow them to stay here for nothing. And they just come into the event and support us, which is just so good to see.
Look, Peter, how many people do you think we've got here today?
Yeah, last year we were looking at sort of 2,500 to 3,000. I would say that our crowd would have to be up on last year. We've got the Mainland College who are doing a survey of the event, and part of the event that they will do next year, and we can look at the survey results and work out where we're coming from, where we're going. They will be providing counters as well, so we can actually get an accurate number of how many are here.
Oh, that's great, and that'll give you something to build up for the next one.
It does, yeah. It gives you some forward planning that you can do, but hell, when you get a day like this, why change anything? It's still great, isn't it? Keep it cheap, keep it local, local wines, local beers, local food, and everyone's just having a ball.
How many volunteers are here today?
We've got about 40 volunteers working just on the Rotary side. But of course NAPS, who provide all the water, they come in with a team of 10 people, putting water out to all the punters out there and backpacks, and so that's invaluable on a day like this.
It's lovely to see Seifried Wines here. How's the day been going?
Oh, busy. Yes, lots of people out enjoying the sunshine. It's a lovely day. It's a great day. Yeah.
So you've got your fine wines here, and of course there's some beautiful food. Have you tried any of the food out there?
Yeah, I've been out and about and had a bit of a look around. Not eating too much, it's too hot for eating, but certainly keeping well hydrated.
Yes, well, you know, it's always nice to have a cool wine on hand on the day like today.
Yes, and that's what these people here seem to be enjoying. It's great.
Are you finding that you're getting very many tourists through at the festival this year?
Probably more locals, but yeah, there are a few tourists. But I think probably mainly locals, yes.
Great day for it.
Yes, wonderful day.
So how's it going with the coffees? Are you finding people are coming here quite a bit, or are they preferring the wine?
Oh no, a bit of a mixture. This morning I sold quite a few coffees and a few frappes and smoothies this afternoon.
Yeah. So you're doing well?
Yeah, definitely.
Great. Enjoying the music?
Yeah, it's great.
Great atmosphere, isn't it?
Yeah, lovely.
Is this your first year here?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Will you come again next year?
Oh, definitely.
One well-known Nelson food identity, Stefano, whose business is pizzas, has now branched off into a brand new organic mobile journey of his own, with his first day taking off at the Brightwater Wine and Food Festival.
Stefano, well, you're not up at the movie theatre. What are you doing down here at the Brightwater Wine and Food Festival?
Oh, I'm just here with my new venture and burning Manuka wood pizza, all organic, 100% organic product. And get a fresh air, not stuck upstairs at the cinema with inside the building. It's pretty hot up there. After 9 years, I think I have enough. And now I enjoy making proper food with a lot of love, because love is very important for the Italians. And this is what I like. I like to give to the people something they never have before in Nelson. Authentic Italian style pizza, making a Manuka wood oven. Beautiful.
Now, Stefano, you're not called Stefano's here though. What's happened to your name?
Hey, my name is left in the cinema upstairs. They keep it there, but my name is Stefano Bonazza. So I will, it's a matter of trading, we say, or business matter. So it's not a big drama. And in this moment we call Italian Pizza Garage, because we literally come out from a garage, and this is a lifestyle. That's awesome.
Well, it's a nice place to have a lifestyle, isn't it? Isn't it a great day?
Yeah, I really enjoy since 12 years living in New Zealand. Is amazing, and that is the country I love. I've been here 24 years now, and I'm happy now. And look at that. What do you want more?
Yes. Well, Stefano, good luck on the new venture. What a great idea, and I guess we'll be seeing more of you.
And I hope you will see me around the town in Nelson with Italian Pizza Garage. We are there. There will be organic, fantastic pizzas. No problem for that. Probably I'm gonna be in the Nelson market on Saturday, so you will find me in there. That will be something what I'm looking forward to. It's something amazing. To get in the Nelson market was one of my first places where I shop when I come here, and it's keep going, and it's my dream to stay, so it's good. I like to cook pizzas outside.
Here are some of the sounds of the festival.
afternoon. We were top thrilled. Thanks to the sound guys and everyone there organising everything. Hang around, there's more great music coming up. Thank you.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.
Are you looking for a scooter, walker, wheelchair, baby seats or pushchairs? Then come in and see the Nelson Region Specialist at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library. We have a huge selection of scooters, walkers, wheelchairs and accessories, along with a free booklet guide. We also provide a breakdown service if you ever get a puncture or a flat battery. We have fully equipped service vans to rescue you. Hi, I'm Robin Jordan and I invite you to call in and see the friendly team at Mobility for You, 269 Queen Street, Richmond, opposite the library.
We're the team at JCar, right here in Nelson, 120 Hardy Street. Our shop is full of electronic items,
including security alarm systems, electronic components,
solar and power,
electronics, toys,
sound systems, cables and much, much more. JCar.
120 Hardy Street, Nelson.
Why would you want to pay as much as $1,000 for a single bed mattress when you can buy a high quality locally made mattress like this for as little as $220? And a queen size mattress could cost you in excess of $3,000, but at Nelson Beds you could have a mattress like this as low as $425. So why would you go out and spend a fortune on your child's bedroom when you can come to Nelson Beds and buy a complete single mattress and base set, a 7-drawer Scotch chest, a headboard and a 3-drawer bedside cabinet for as little as $979? So call and discuss our custom manufacturing options and local after sales service at Nelson Beds, Nelson's only bedding manufacturer.
Victory 60 Plus is on Tuesdays at 1:30 through to 3:30 p.m. at 238 Upper Vanguard Street. You can join in for cards, games and a cuppa.
On behalf of the team here at Mainland Television News, thank you for joining us and we'll bring you the latest news and events from around the region again tomorrow.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.
G'day, it's your old mate the Mad Butcher and you're watching Mainland TV.
Welcome to Smugglers Pub and Cafe, open 7 days a week with free parking all day. Our lunch menus have that fat old-fashioned flavour where we treat you like treasure with the food you'll savour.
We cater for children, grannies and granddads too, with special rates and privileges given to the elderly lunchtime crew. Our staff are friendly and kind and want to see you all come back time after time.
Daytime or evening, it doesn't matter. Give us a call on 546 4084 and we'll be happy to spoil ya.